council to order. Please call the roll.
Flora.
Here.
Coots.
Here.
Kuiper.
Here.
Stevie. Severson.
Here.
Gage. Here. Isom. Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of.
So it's Lou's Darth Vader voice.
Okay. All right, the first thing we have is a public hearing on Ordinance 17-1853, amending the Chapter 11-12 Telecommunications Services and Rates. Is anybody here to talk about the new rates? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. We'll open a public hearing on Resolution 17-2668, amending 2017 General Government Operating and Capital Budget to provide supplemental appropriations for the Library Department of $2,000 and the Museum Department of $25,503. Anybody here to speak to those? Seeing that, we'll close that public hearing. That brings us down to communications. We got something relayed on the table, revised motion for 7A3. The court thing. I do have some questions on that. That brings us down to persons to be heard. I have no one signed up to speak tonight. Is anybody here in the audience like to address the council? Seeing that, we'll move on. Wow, it must be summer.
First 2 days of it.
Let's put everything in the consent agenda and we'll be out of here.
All right, talking about consent agenda. Under
2018.
I was wondering if do we? Yeah, let's do it. Unfinished business. The rates, the KPU rates. Does anybody have a problem putting that on there?
Nope.
Okay. I was thinking also the Redmond 782, since we're just the borough is having us give them a little more property on their project there in the parking lot. Also, I don't know if you guys want to put the roofs on there or not.
Yeah, I think that's what he's
Okay. And then police lieutenant. Anybody have a problem with that? All right.
He came here, though. We should do that.
Well, they didn't come up to talk. I gave him the opportunity. Everything else, I think we'll just talk when it comes up. Do we have a motion to consent?
So,
Yeah. Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, can you read the items?
Approval of minutes, regular city council meeting of June 15th, 2017, and special council meeting of June 22nd, 2017. A budget transfer for the cleaning and staining of Harborview Park. A memorandum of agreement providing for a 12-month extension of contract number 1312, Bayview Cemetery Maintenance and Operations with PM Landscaping. Resolution number 172668, amending the 2017 General Government Operating and Capital Budget for the Library Department in the amount of $2,000 and the Museum Department in the amount of $25,503. Change order number 1 final, the contract number 1627, downtown pedestrian improvements with Glacier State Contractors Incorporated. Change order number 1 final, the contract number is 1618, fire station number 2, water supply line replacement, and that's with Pool Engineering. Change order number 3 final, the contract number 1626, and that's the Tongass Front and Stedman Sewer Force Main Rehabilitation with BAM LLC. Standard marijuana cultivation facility license renewal with Rainforest Cannabis Cultivation. Exempting the procurement of an oil mist detection system from competitive bidding and written quotation requirements of the Ketchikan Municipal Code, and that's for Wärtsilä North America Incorporated. Ordinance number 17-1853, amending Chapter 11.12 Telecommunications Service and Rates. That's in second reading. Ordinance number 17-1854, repealing ordinance number 17-1843, and authorizing negotiations with the Improved Order of Redmond for improvements to the city's parking lot located on Main Street in exchange for certain real property in first reading. Budget transfer, award of contract number 1721, 2017 City of Ketchikan roof replacements with Coogan Construction Company. And finally, an offer of employment for a police lieutenant.
Anybody have any questions on any of the items?
No, but I'd like Joe to come up and...
No, I think it's a great idea. We'll force him.
We'll force him to do it, yes. Joe White, Chief of Police with the City Police Department. I'm here in support of Eric Matson tonight, who's hopefully going to be our new police lieutenant. I'm really excited to get him on board and help move the department forward. He's been a great asset to our department. He's been with us for 13 years, in law enforcement for 16 years, roughly, 8 years as a sergeant with us. He's led the investigation division, doing great casework, brought together camaraderie in that unit, and he's done a real good job for us, so I'm real excited.
Thank you very much.
He won just about every award the other night at your guys' dinner.
Yeah.
He rose the table. Yeah, he did good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Lou,
Yeah.
I want to make one comment
You bet.
on the, I think it's 782 dealing with the Redmond. I find it amazing that the Borough Planning can sit here and tell us, two property owners, how we have to deal with our property and our agreements, and they did it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Dick. Anybody else? Call the roll.
Flora,
Yes.
Coos,
Yes.
Kuiper,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Gage,
Yes.
Heisen. Yes.
And that passes 7-0. That brings us, or 6-0. That brings us to 7A1, preparation of Ketchikan Public Library Strategic Plan. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor, I move the City Council authorize staff to proceed with the preparation of a strategic plan for the Ketchikan Public Library, a detailed library director's report dated June 26, 2017.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Bob, do you have anything?
No, Your Honor, except for the fact I think it's a good idea to keep in touch and see what we're providing and how it fits in the community.
Excellent. Anybody else? The Daily News needs to do this too. You guys are giving me great ideas. Call the roll, please.
Heisen. Yes. Gage. Yes. Severson,
Yes.
Kuiper,
Yes.
Coos,
Yes.
Flora.
Yes.
All right, that passes 6-0. That brings us to 7A3, 100% design for contract 1715 design, berth 3 improvements in barge overhaul Moffett Nickel. We have two. We have the original motion, which I support, and then we have or at least the option B, and then we have a new one where they want to do nothing. I don't know which one you guys want to read, but we will debate.
Okay, so we got two of them. So the one that's laid on the table
is option
the one I'm
D.
gonna read. Yeah.
Okay.
I move the City Council authorize the City Manager to direct Moffett Nichols to proceed with 100% design of contract number 1715, design of berth 3 improvements or barge overall utilizing option D, no modification for Norwegian Breakaway and Carnival Vista classes of vessels as detailed in the Port and Harbor Director's report dated June 27, 2017.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Bob, do you want to add anything?
No, I just think Steve would come up, or Steve's not here, so
No.
Carl, I suppose you would update us on those discussions and what's going on.
Essentially, Councilmember Severson, we had originally recommended option B, which provided making modifications at berth 3 to accommodate the new class of vessels with lifeboats that extend past the hull. We were under the assumption that those ships were going to start coming into Alaska next year, 2018. We subsequently had a meeting with representatives of cruise line agencies of Alaska on Friday. They're representing to us that those type of vessels are having issues traversing the Panama Canal with the new configuration down there, and that they're also unable to accommodate those vessels at the Port of Seattle, and that there's no ports within Alaska that can accommodate those type of vessels, and that to the best of their knowledge, they're not going to be coming to Alaska at least in the next 2 to 3 years. Based on that, we thought it was incumbent upon us to let the council know that in order that you could consider not making those modifications, at least at this time, until we have a better handle on when those ships are going to be coming to Alaska. And you have the information now that we have, and really the decision is that of the councils.
Yes.
Yeah, Carl, thank you for that. I've been hearing rumors that the deployment strategies have changed somewhat in regards to the type of ship that they may bring here and the timing of that. So I think that it was good that you had those discussions, and where I think that we still got to look forward, and it's good to move ahead with some of the design work we're doing. I guess I have a hard time investing in a infrastructure that I'm just not entirely sure if the user is going to show up at this time, or what that user is going to look like when they do, because it may be more modifications than we have now.
Dave, and then generally, and then me.
I do agree with Bob. I guess I'm just curious with staff's take on, if we're going to have to do this eventually, is there a value doing it now rather than waiting 4 or 5 years and doing it for undoubtedly 2 or 3 times the cost?
If we're going to have to do it, it would make more sense to do it now, and that's why the original recommendation was forthcoming. I just can't give you a good estimate when those ships are going to be deployed here. One thing that came out of the meeting that we had on Friday, while these particular ships may not be coming in the next 2 to 3 years, larger ships are going to be coming, and we may not have the time that we originally thought we were going to have. And I'm hoping to get more information from cruise line agencies about that in the next few weeks, because it may be necessary to look to the owners of berth 4 as well as us doing improvements down at berths 1 and 2 sooner than we had expected.
Annalee?
So option B would give that option to the larger ships besides the breakaway ones?
Option B is not intended to accommodate the larger ships that we know will be coming. Those modifications were specifically designed to accommodate the ones with the new lifeboat configuration, and that's why we were undertaking that work.
So this is to modify for those. But something I was reading about these larger ships, there's a lot of communities or a lot of places that are starting to put a cap on how many people come because of the environmental damage and the fact that communities can't handle. So I'm just wondering how that plays.
One of the comments that I represented to cruise line agencies was that we're currently under contract with Moffitt and Nichol to look at the uplands impacts, and that I could not speak for the council relative to, endorsing any modifications either at our docks or privately owned facilities until the council makes a final decision as to how they want to pursue that issue. So it's a valid point you're raising.
Yeah, I mean, when I go visit someplace, I don't want a place where I'm doing this between people.
This way or widen the side.
Yeah.
Slide.
Yeah.
Well,
We gotta get it.
my only concern is that, we take this barge out every 10 years, is it, Carl?
That's correct.
Okay, so I think since we're going to have it out of the water, we should do at least the B option to keep going forward. The only, we don't have the money to do 1 and 2 in any way, shape, or form. And, the logical thing is berth 4 is going to be worked on, and they're going to be the only dock in town that will handle a lot of ships if we don't do something with our berth 3, so we can keep going forward. I think we should at least do the B option. So we're going forward. If we don't, otherwise, if we have to make something quick, we're going to have to pull it out before 10 years, or we're going to wait another 10 years, and we could do this for $465,000 now. I'd hate to see it what it is in 10 years. So I think we should keep moving forward. Have this available for something coming bigger in the future, and then I think we're going to have to look at berth 4 for the first movement to. Getting something available for the larger ships. So, I just think we should move ahead. I think we should not take this opportunity since it's going to be out of the water. Dick?
I agree with the mayor. I think that we ought to go ahead and just do this because it's going to cost us more if we wait 3 years. We don't know what we're going to put. It may be a little tweaked, but maybe whatever tweaks won't have to come out of the water. And we're ahead of the game. I think a couple of these boats, maybe not the really big ones, they're already sitting in Juneau. They've already got some accommodations for them, as we know. So I'm surprised Cruise Line Agency said there's no place in Southeast can deal with it. Now, Seattle, I can't tell you about, but I think we ought to have one sitting out here. And I agree with the mayor that it'll probably cost us more to pull it out of the water and fix it than what we're going to put into it this time. That's my opinion.
Anybody else? Mark?
Carl, the potential modifications at berth 4, 1, and 2 for the larger ships, would they also be able to accommodate that class of ship that we're talking about for berth 3?
That's my understanding.
So those ships could go there ultimately?
That's my understanding, if and when those class of vessels come to Alaska.
They could dock at berth 4,
That's my understanding as well.
but not 1 and 2.
Not presently.
No, they'd have to change those. Dick?
Another comment, I think there is some people in town that are worried about us having 20,000 people in town if 4 of them hit at once. By us only having one dock available, that sets a limitation right there unless they anchor out. And I don't think they're going to try to tender that largest ship. They might. But
That'd be
to
quite
me, it's not unreasonable to do what we're thinking about doing on Alternative B right now, and then we're ready. We're not going to. You can't say we're not ready for them. At least ways what that will accommodate. Now, if there's something bigger and fancier coming, I don't know whether they're going to hit Alaska or not. But that's. I've talked to a number of people on the dock in the last couple of weeks that hate those bigger ships. That's the passengers. They're not. They'd say they're not friendly. You stand in line longer. They like this class of ship that's coming through here now. So it's up to the cruise line agency. I mean, the cruise lines to determine what's economical for them. It's a business model. We can't call it, but we can manage it.
Anybody else? You bet.
Carl, is there any indication that these larger ships that are going to come, are they going to also have outboard overhanging lifeboats?
What was represented to me, Councilmember Severson, the larger ships that cruise line agencies was concerned about would not be the class of vessels that would have the lifeboats extending past the hull. That was my impression from the conversation we had.
And so the modification that we presently were looking at for 1 and 2 was to put a float out there in order to accommodate the one with the overhanging. So we may not have that type of improvements necessary. We may have to do something with bollards and stuff. But.
All I can say with certainty, Councilmember Severson, is what was represented to us last Friday was that the class of ships with the lifeboats that extend past the hull were not going to be deployed to Alaska within the next 2 to 3 years. Beyond that, it's anyone's guess. No one would represent one way or the other. And it was incumbent upon us to let the council know that. But I cannot represent they're not going to be here in 3 years or 4 years. I just don't know.
That's why I think we should just move ahead with doing something. So who knows? It changes so quickly. All right. Right now on the table is option D, do nothing.
Well, not do nothing.
Well,
Do less.
do less.
Do less.
Well, it's $0. All right. Call the roll on this one.
Severson,
Yes.
Gage,
So are we voting to do nothing, or are we voting
This one's to do nothing. If it
Let's do
passes,
less.
it goes forward.
to do less?
To not do the option B.
B.
Yes.
Isom? Yes. Flora?
Yes.
Coos?
No.
Kiefer?
No.
That passes 4-2. That takes us to 7B1, electric utility line extension to residential lots on Ice House Lane. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
pursuant to paragraph B, section 11.06.025 of the Ketchikan Municipal, I move the City Council authorize the electric division to extend electrical service to 4 lots on Ice House Lane as detailed in the Electric Division's Operator Manager Report dated June 28, 2017.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Bob?
Yeah, in the memo, it was never in the intent of the city to put these things in at no cost. And apparently, due to the way that was written, we get into a situation now where we're going to be paying the full cost of this application. And it sounds like that staff's going to go ahead and look at that for future developments and make sure that they clean that language up. So just wanted to bring that to light. But this is presently the ordinance that we're under, the operating procedure that we're going to follow.
Carl, are you bringing something back then to redefine this?
We are working on it, Mr. Mayor.
And then the credit is a $2,500 credit?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? Call the roll.
Kiefer,
Yes.
Coos,
Yes.
Flora,
Yes.
Isom. Yes. Gage. Yes. Severson.
Yes.
That brings us to vouchers. Ketchikan Daily News, $3,678.71. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move for approval of vouchers to the Ketchikan Daily News in the amount of $3,678.71.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Flora,
Yes.
Coos,
Yes.
Kiefer,
Yes.
Severson,
Yes.
Gage,
Yeah.
Isom. Yes.
That passes 6-0. That brings us to manager's report. Carl, do you have anything to add?
Just to Mr. Mayor, I too would like to add my congratulations to Lieutenant Mattson on his appointment. I think that would be a very good move for the police department. I'd also like to offer my congratulations tonight to Anita Maxwell, our new museum director. I think we will do very well by having her in that position. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions on manager's report? All right. Nita, thanks for joining the team.
Well, she's been here for a while.
I know.
Yeah.
She's actually been
I know, but they've been
director for like 2 years now.
we've been twisting their arm for how long?
I know, exactly.
All right, that brings us down to city clerk's file,
Nothing, Your Honor.
city attorney's file,
Nothing, Your Honor.
future agenda items, mayor and council comments. Mark,
Nothing, Your Honor.
Dave,
Yeah, one thing, Your Honor. Putting my hat on here is you're irritated downtown business owner.
very good.
So this week we had an issue with internet service a couple days ago, and basically it meant that all of a sudden for several hours in the middle of the afternoon we couldn't take credit cards. And there was no, I mean, it sort of kind of all of a sudden boom, and all of downtown had this problem. And I guess I'm wondering that if something like that happens in the future, is there a way to get a message out on Facebook or something that will kind of know what's happening, as opposed to just suddenly wondering why we can't do it and fighting the machine for 45 minutes before someone finally called KPU and they said, oh, you can't do it because we've lost our bandwidth or whatever it was. So I guess I'm just wondering, is there some way that we're not kind of left hanging with customers standing at the door waving their credit cards and we're saying, we don't know what's up. So I guess just in the future, if there's a way to get the word out, so that, I mean, at the very least, you put it on Facebook. Maybe all these people who are downloading Netflix will stop for 5 seconds so we can do business the rest of the afternoon.
Downloading their pictures to Facebook.
Yeah, they're posting on Facebook like a pig. Exactly.
Thank you, Carl. Otherwise, you got that alarm on top of the fire department.
Yeah, use that for something.
The internet's down.
I'll consult with customer service and telecom, and we'll respond with a report.
Thank you. Bob?
I would like to thank everybody that put forth the effort to make the 4th of July as great an event as it is. There's a lot of people that go above and beyond, and then it's just the public that comes out and supports it. It was a great 4th of July. I really enjoyed it, and I might have to talk to everybody that does it.
Excellent. Julie?
I would ditto that too. Yeah. And did we put the license renewal for rainforest cannabis cultivation in with the
Consent.
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 Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. And that's okay, I didn't have anything to say about it. But, that's it, yeah.
Tally?
I had fun. It was 4th of July. I got to do radios. I didn't have to listen to elevator music all day.
Oh, very good.
But same what Dave said. We've had some internet issues for work, so it'd be nice to find out. It sucks when your system crashes and you can't do your job. Too, because there's 5 ships in and it's overloading. I know it's worse in other communities, so I'm not complaining too bad. I know Sitka's complaining big time, and there's a job business there opportunity.
It's expanded there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Dick?
Yeah, I'd like to echo the thanks to everybody that made the 4th of July successful, and I want to especially thank Chief White and the PD for, I want to say, helping my wife a little bit with the kitty parade, because it didn't look like it was going to happen for a while.
Were they uprising?
It worked, yeah. Got them right down the street and got them organized. Anyway, thanks a lot to everybody.
All right. I had heard nothing but good about the 4th this year. It looked good, the parade, everything.
No, essentially all my groups are kind of.
Yeah.
I met people that came into town for it and everything, and everybody seemed to have a great time. The weather turned out great, and so, yeah, you
Our
can't
2
complain.
days
It's
of
always
summer.
fun and catch them.
That was your area-wide weather powers that we.
Yeah.
Holding up the clouds.
Can I?
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Also, I wanted to agree to the 4th went fascinating, very very well. It was interesting as always to see people come back into town who hadn't been. Some of them actually hadn't been back since graduation.
Wow.
It's been 40 years. But it was interesting because, of course, the weather was nice and that was good. But we actually had 2 of our. I think this kind of tells you somewhat of the hold Ketchikan can has on people. We invited back 2 of the foreign exchange students who were in the class of '77, and they both came.
Oh, wow.
One from Finland and one from Germany, and then they talked about how they only spent a year here, but how it was one of the most wonderful experiences of their life, and how much they loved Ketchikan. And it was kind of good to hear that because we kind of forget. We just went through June, October, whatever. we were all muttering, and of course, before the service was raining. Like, oh my God! But they came back and they were just so happy to be here, and I guess that was such a lovely feeling. Someone would go to the trouble of flying 6,000 miles for a reunion of people they haven't seen in 40 years in a town they haven't been to in 40 years. And that was kind of cool.
We had a couple in our class reunion, a couple of years ago that they came back they went to school here 1 year.
Yeah.
They didn't even graduate, but they came back for it. They went south and graduated, but yeah. And they said that our class reunions are the best because everybody comes in and it's just one big family reunion. So.
Any last comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We absolutely wore